I've been a member of the MFC intercessory group led by Sister Rowena Dixon for many years now. So when I was invited to do the consecration, I was thinking, okay, I think I'm ready for this. However, when I did my consecration, when I started the talk, I was very, very intimidated. When I started the talks and it said surrender everything to Mama Mary, that scared me a little bit. That was very intimidating for me. The biggest question I had at that point was, how can I surrender everything? How can I surrender everything? And then it turned into, am I ready? And am I worthy to make this journey at this point in my life? So at that point, it was very, it was such a scary period. But I remember Father Adam through the talk said, don't give up, don't be scared, persevere through it. And that's what I did. I listened, I learned, and I prayed, and I persevered. And as I did that, I reached the point where it was a talk for Mother Teresa, and she said, I thirst. And when she said that, I also felt that thirst. I shared in that thirst. So much so that I actually went back to the talks that I had finished and listened to them again, because I wanted to listen and learn more intently. I felt that thirst to learn more and to learn more about Mary deeply. So I was able to go through the 33 days journey, and on March 25, I was able to fully consecrate to Mama Mary. And then 3 days later, remember my first question was, when surrender everything. That was when I had the most doubt for myself. 3 days later, after fully consecrating, Mama Mary showed me how to fully surrender. So that was the time that there was a significant outbreak of COVID in Metro Manila. And that was the time that I received a call from my sister, who told me that COVID has hit our household. So my brother, my sister-in-law, my infant nephew, 2 of our household members, and my 86-year-old father were symptomatic. Not to mention the rest of the household that have been directly now exposed to them were at risk. So it was a tailspin we went into a tailspin at that point. And it was just a matter of time before we received confirmation that those people who were symptomatic were actually positive. So I reached out to our brothers and sisters in Christ, and I was very thankful that at that point it had extended beyond just our MFC community and our intercessory community to our consecration community. I reached out for prayers, and I think it was Sister Rowena who reminded me, and she said, you just consecrated to Mama Mary. Surrender everything to Mama Mary. So she reminded me of that, and that's what I did. I surrendered to Mama Mary. And I will tell you that at that point when I did surrender, I really felt Mama Mary's presence. I felt that once I surrendered, she took over. Just like a mother coming to the rescue of a troubled child, I felt that Mama Mary took over and came to my rescue. Because from that point on, I felt her hand in everything that had happened. So it was such a challenging time, because that was the time that no vaccination was available in the Philippines. So everyone was vulnerable. There was a significant outbreak, so no hospitals had any openings. To my father, who's 86 years old, he had multiple underlying conditions. He's triple bypass. He has diabetes. He has cardiac conditions. COVID could have been a death sentence. So we were very apprehensive at that point. But we had somehow, I felt Mary's hand in providing us resources. She made she made it possible that, my father, that we had to manage his illness at home. She sent a nurse or a caregiver to us. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, and we reached out to the caregiver of my mother. And immediately, despite the risk to herself and to her own family, she said, "Your family is like family to me. I will come and help." So she came and she was able to help us take care of my father. Then, as the days progressed, my father's symptoms, of course, progressed. We needed the help of a doctor, but we couldn't send him to the hospital. So again, we reached out to doctors we knew, and we were led to my mother's doctors. And mind you, my mother died of cancer, so these doctors are oncologists. They don't know anything about, or they don't directly deal with COVID. Plus, again, there is that fear of exposing yourself and putting yourself and your family at risk. But even late at night at 10:30 in the evening, we just took a chance and texted one of my mother's doctors. And immediately he said, "Okay, this is at 10:30 in the evening." He said, "Let's do a Zoom meeting right now and let me see how I can help." What doctor does that? And we reached out to him. In a matter of days, he's reached out to the rest of the team members that we knew, and they showed up to our house, unnecessarily exposing themselves. And when they came, they not only came to visit my father, but they already had all the possible supplies that my father would have needed, because at that point there was a shortage. So they had IV materials, medications that they anticipated my father would need. So that was such a blessing. After that, there are no hospital openings. In fact, a lot of people we knew who were also sick were being turned away. We heard of stories where people were waiting in ambulances just for a room, or in the hallways, or they had to go to faraway provinces. But somehow, when my father's condition turned for the worse, we were able to get him into a hospital. So that in itself was a miracle and a blessing. No one was allowed to have anyone accompany them. But we knew my father, that would be the biggest struggle. In fact, my father said, if I'm going to have to be admitted into a hospital by myself, that to me will probably precipitate my death. Somehow, because my brother was also positive, the hospital allowed him to stay in the hospital in the room with my father. So many things that just fell into place. But that entire time, as scared as I was, I could feel that it was Mama Mary taking care of us, just like a mother coming to the rescue of her troubled child. So yes, I did surrender, and with her help, my father made it through this. He was the only one in the hospital. As much as it was such a traumatic experience for him, because left and right, he was seeing people pass away from the same illness he was trying to battle. He was admitted into cardiac ICU, and out of all the patients, he was the only one who was not intubated. He was alert. And as many people were declining, he was actually improving. And that was a miracle. Up to the point that now my father is recovered from COVID at 86 years old. So, that I wanted to share that because after my consecration, I felt that Mama Mary taught me how to surrender. And when I surrendered, she showed me she would be there. So I just remembered, John 19, verse 26 to 27. At the foot of the cross, Jesus said to Mama Mary, "Woman, here's your son." And then to his disciple, he said, "Son, this is your mother." So she is given to us to help us. And I was blessed also to have been able to join the talk of Father Ayler in the Immaculate Heart of Mary conference. And someone asked, why consecrate to Mama Mary? Why do we do the consecration? And he said, trust is accepting God's help and living this trust. And when we consecrate to Mama Mary, we accept God's help of Mary. And when we do that, we are trusting God. So that enriched my relationship with Mama Mary. And I will tell you, once I found strength in my faith. Gone are those statements where, oh, you're so lucky, or what a coincidence. I don't say that. It's always, oh, you're being nudged by the Lord, or this is a message, or more importantly, how blessed are we? So I will tell you, when Sister Rowena posted in our consecration group, at midpoint, she said, we just finished the talk for Mother Teresa, and she said, I thirst. That was a message for me, because that was my grab when I did my consecration. I did feel that thirst. And then when Sister Donna asked me, I prayed and I said yes, I would give a talk. And of course, my sharing mostly was about my father and my journey through the consecration and having faith in and surrender to Mama Mary. I didn't realize this when I said yes to this talk, but today is actually my father's 87th birthday. So that is also not a coincidence. That is a blessing, because he wouldn't have reached 87 and we wouldn't be celebrating today had it not been for the help of Mama Mary. So I wanted to let you know that it really is true that the consecration will have such an impact on your life, and it will truly enrich your faith in Mama Mary. Thank you, brothers and sisters, and may God be praised.